Okay, so today we're gonna start doing chapter 2. I will only teach chapter 2 today in 2-hour class. There are a lot of questions that I cannot do it in class because we only have 2 hours. So just before we start the class, just in case you don't know who am I, my name is Ling. So if you have your notes with you, the person on the notes cover is me. This is me. This is okay. It's the same person. I'm one of the bio teacher in TTC. Just in case you don't know who am I. Okay. Since I say right, we only do chapter 2 today. If you are asking what about chapter 3, I have some of the videos in my YouTube channel that you can see for chapter 3. I think I have about 2 videos for chapter 3. So you have anything you don't understand in chapter 3, you can still watch my YouTube videos. Chapter 1, I don't have any videos in my YouTube channel yet because I think that only your first term exam for Form 4 will have your Form 4 chapter 1 question. So that one you have to study by yourself a little bit. Chapter 2 is one of the most important chapter in the entire biology, because if you don't know chapter 2, it means that later on in other chapter, you will not understand as well. Okay, in chapter 2 is called cell structure and cell organization. We have to start with animal cell and plant cell first. By looking at this diagram, can you tell me what are the things that can only be found in plant cell but cannot be found in animal cell? Only plant cell has it. What are the things plant cell has it? Only plant cell has, but the rest of the cell don't have. We have? Plant cell has what? Has chloroplast. Very good. They have cell wall, correct? They also have a large vacuole. Can you see the vacuole is very big over here? They have a large vacuole. Okay, so they have cell wall, chloroplast, and large vacuole. Animal cell, they also have vacuole, just that the vacuole is smaller and numerous. They have more. Okay, this is the vacuole. They have more of the vacuole, but it's smaller in size. This is the difference between animal cell and plant cell. And there's one thing can only be found in animal cell, which is the stanchials. The function of stanchials is to form spindle fiber. If you have learned chapter 6 already, what is a spindle fiber? Spindle fiber is to attach onto the chromosome, centromere. They will separate the chromosome into half. So to split the cell into 2 parts, that is a function of stanchial. So we have animal cell and we have plant cell. Okay, if you look at organelles, okay, in what is in the cell, right? We have to learn what is in the cell. We have organelle, we have non-organelle. What is organelle? What is non-organelle? Okay, to make it more simple for you to understand, we can understand organelle are the things that can be found inside the cell. Okay, this is in the cell. Anything that is inside the cell is called organelle. What is non-organelle? Non-organelle means that they are not in the cell. Not in cell. It's called non-organelle. So we have in the cell and we have the one that's not in the cell. Okay, let's start with not in the cell first. Okay, why do I call this as not in the cell? We have plasma membrane, cytoplasm, and cell wall. Okay, let's start with plasma membrane first. Okay, why do I call this is not in the cell? Okay, we can imagine like that. Imagine this way. We have a building. The building itself, your school building, like your school building is a cell wall. Example, the classroom is the plasma membrane. The space inside is the cytoplasm, but they are not inside the space. They are just outside the most outer layer, cell wall, plasma membrane, and cytoplasm. They are not inside the space. So that's why it's called non-organelle. They are not inside the cell. Okay. Plasma membrane has a characteristic. There's only one characteristic of plasma membrane: semi-permeable or selectively permeable. What does semi-permeable mean? Semi-permeable, it means that it only allows certain substances to pass through. If you don't want to write semi-permeable, you can write selective permeable. There's one more word that you can write. You can write partially permeable. Okay, whichever you prefer. You want to write semi-permeable also can. Selectively permeable also can. They only allow certain substances, if you want to be more precise about your answer, right, to regulate the movement of certain substances. If you learn chapter 3 in school already, right, I believe that our teacher have emphasized the word of certain, because certain here referring to small substances. The large one cannot just diffuse it into it. They have to use some protein to allow the transportation of it. So that's why it's called semi-permeable. Only allow certain substances to pass through. Cytoplasm is the space inside. The space is a jelly-like structure. It's the space. Is to allow biochemical reaction. What does biochemical reaction means? Bio here refers to living thing. Okay, bio here refers to living things. It's called bio. Chemical reaction is a normal chemical reaction. If you want to break down a food, it's called chemical reaction. So this chemical reaction that happens in the living thing is called biochemical reaction. Okay, and then we have cell wall. Tell me, what do you know about cell wall? Cell wall is made of what, guys? Okay, sorry, what is the function of cell wall first? Let me know. What do you know about cell wall? What is the function of cell wall? Cell wall? Cell wall function is what? To maintain the shape of a plant cell, correct? And to provide support. Okay, that's the correct answer. Cell wall, we have 2 functions. Number 1, provide support. Number 2, maintain the shape of it. But how do they provide support? How do they maintain shape? We have a word here called rigid. Cell wall has to be rigid. Rigid is strong, okay? It means they are able to make sure that the plant cell remains the same shape. That's why cell wall function is to maintain the shape of a plant cell. And cell wall is made of cellulose. What is cellulose? Cellulose, they are sugar, but it's a sugar that's not sweet. It's called cellulose, okay? It's a sugar, but this sugar is not sweet. It's called cellulose. The sugar is not sweet. It's called cellulose, okay? So this is plasma membrane, cytoplasm, and cell wall. Can you see there is two different symbols that I put it over here? What is the difference between these two symbols? The one in triangle, okay? This is the characteristic of it. This is the characteristic. This is the function. Okay, one is the characteristic, the other one is function. So we have characteristic, we have function. It applies to this page 1 and page 2. I always remember, apply to page 1 and page 2. One is the characteristic, the other one is function. I have make it to the most simple way for you to know about characteristic and function. This is the summary of everything that you have to know about function. I didn't add any extra thing over here. So if you only want to study the main thing, the keyword, just study this. Everything is the keyword that you have to know. Okay, now after done with non-organelle, we're gonna look at organelle. They are in the cell. What is in the cell? Just imagine this in the classroom. What can you find in the classroom? Student, table, chairs, aircon, right? Those are in the cell. So nucleus, mitochondria, chloroplast, they are inside the cell. It's called organelle. First one, nucleus. Everybody know about nucleus because nucleus is the brain of the cell, right? So tell me, what do you know about nucleus? Nucleus has what function that you know? What is the function of nucleus that you know? Nucleus is to, correct. It contains of DNA, very good. It controls cell activity, correct. So it controls cell activity. It contains of DNA. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. A lot of students, they will ask me, teacher, can I write DNA in exam? Can I just not write deoxyribonucleic acid? If this is your first term exam, I would suggest you to write deoxyribonucleic acid. But if this is your second exam or even in SPM, we can write DNA because some teacher during first term exam, right, they don't know what to ask. They will ask you to spell the word of deoxyribonucleic acid. Deoxyribonucleic acid is DNA. So only first term exam you have to know the term of DNA lah. But second exam onwards, just write DNA will do so. You can write DNA, you can write ATP. You don't have to write adenosine triphosphate. Just write DNA and ATP will enough already. Inside the nucleus, we have DNA. DNA is the one that determines the characteristic of cell. What does it mean? So if you carry blonde hair, okay, it means that your parents' sperms or ovum, they carries the chromosome, the genetic information of blonde hair. So why do we look like that? Because of DNA that we inherited from our parents itself. If our parents is tall, maybe you inherited the tall gene. If our parents have big eyes, maybe you inherit the biggest. Everything is from the DNA of our parents. It's inherited. Okay, so this is nucleus. It controls all cell activity, is the brain. When there's a cell without nucleus, it means that they cannot control cell activity. Literally, they are kind of useless lah. Most of the time, when there's no nucleus, it means quite useless in a way of it. Okay, next we have mitochondria. We understand mitochondria as a powerhouse. What does powerhouse mean? It's to generate energy. Malaysia powerhouse is known as TNB. Malaysia power is TNB. The one that generates electricity is TNB. Human, we cannot generate electricity, right? Because if we can, we are not human, guys. We are Pikachu, but we are not Pikachu. So our energy production is not electricity, it's ATP. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. Okay, adenosine triphosphate. It's a form of energy. How human produces energy? We produce its energy by a process called cellular respiration. Cellular respiration means, okay, sometimes your parents will tell you, if you eat rice, only you have energy. If you don't eat rice, means that you have no energy. Have you guys heard of that before? If you eat rice, means that you get energy. If you don't eat rice, means that you have energy. Okay, where does this sentence come from? This sentence comes from cellular respiration, where we will break down glucose with the presence of oxygen into carbon dioxide, water, and energy. This is what we call as cellular respiration. Glucose comes from the rice that we eat or any carbohydrate. Can be fruits, can be noodles, can be rice, can be potatoes. So actually, by eating a lot of fruits, you will also gain weight because food has a lot of glucose. If you don't use up the energy, then it will become high calories and then you're going to become fat . So this is what we call cellular respiration. Every second that we are breathing right now, okay, right now you're sitting down, you're not You're not exercising, right? We are carrying out cellular respiration. When you write, you need energy, and their energy is come from cellular respiration. So this is how mitochondria generate energy, is by cellular respiration. It's called cell respiration. That's why when you eat rice, only you have energy. And this is the theory behind it. It's called mitochondria. And then we have chloroplast. Chloroplast can only be found in plant cell, and chloroplast has to be in green color. What causes chloroplast to be green color, guys? What causes chloroplast to be green color? What is inside the chloroplast that causes them to be green color? It's the presence of what? Very good, presence of chlorophyll. Okay, presence of chlorophyll. So chlorophyll is the green pigment that traps sunlight. Without chlorophyll, the chloroplast will never trap sunlight. So it's the chlorophyll that traps sunlight, not the chloroplast. It's the chlorophyll. Chlorophyll traps sunlight. They will convert light energy into chemical energy. Chemical here referring to food. It's food over here. So that's why when they carry out photosynthesis, they have glucose or they have starch coming out. It's the chlorophyll that they trap sunlight. Nucleus, mitochondria, and chloroplast, they have a similarity. The similarity is double membrane, double membrane, double membrane, double membrane. Okay, everything here is double membrane. What does double membrane mean? It means two membrane. Let me label for you. What does two membranes mean? First, this is the first layer. Can you see? And the lighter purple color is the second layer. Can you see? We have first layer, we have second layer. The darker one on the outside is the first layer. The lighter one is the second layer. Mitochondria, we also have two layers. The one in green color is the first layer. The one in orange color is second layer. Mitochondria, the inner membrane is folded. If you notice, they are folded, right? Why do they have to be folded? Because they have to increase surface area. Just imagine this. If I pull this purple color thing and this green color, number 1 and number 2, if I pull number 1 and number 2 into one straight line, do you think number 1 is longer or number 2 is longer? I put it into one straight line. Number 1 is longer or number 2 is longer? Of course, number 2, right? Why? Because number 2, folded membrane, when you put it, is longer, is to increase surface area. When surface area increases, they are able to generate more energy. We have to use the word generate, guys. We cannot use the word produce. Generate means produce, but we have to use the word generate, generate energy in the form of ATP. And then we have chloroplast, also two layer. The one in darker color is the first layer. The one in the lighter color is the second layer. So it's called double membrane. If you need to write similarity between nucleus, mitochondria, and chloroplast, we need to write they have double membrane. Okay, there's only one similarity. We cannot talk about energy, even though they have energy belt. We cannot talk about energy. We can only talk about double membrane, two membrane. Sometimes your school teacher, they will draw it out in exam. Means that they draw for you to see. You have to identify the diagram, whether it's a mitochondria or chloroplast. Now, how do we recognize that? If it's a drawing diagram, mitochondria, it will be like that. So circle, and then it looks like a cloud inside. Cloud, okay? Looks like a cloud inside. This is a mitochondria, a 2D diagram. Chloroplast 2D diagram, it will be like that. First layer, second layer, and then inside, it looks like some Baymax face, you know, Baymax eyes. Now there's a cartoon called Baymax. I don't know if you guys know about it. Baymax, okay? Like a twin tower. Like a twin tower, okay? They'll join together. And this is the point, the coin-like structure is the point that they have green pigment, which is the chlorophyll. So this is double membrane. So in exam, maybe they will draw it up for you to see. So this is how we recognize whether they are mitochondria or chloroplast, even though both are oval in shape. So this mitochondria and chloroplast. Okay, next we have vacuole. Vacuole, it has fluid inside. So the fluid inside is known as cell sap. What does cell sap contains of? Cell sap contains of nutrients, water, waste substances. We call this as cell sap. Okay, we call this as cell sap. It's not just nutrients, water, waste substances. We also have glucose, amino acid. We also have mineral inside. It's called cell sap. They are able to maintain turgidity. What does turgidity mean? Turgidity is the one that provides support. But they use water to provide support. The support comes from water. Means when water diffuses into the vacuole has turgidity. It becomes turgid. If you have learned chapter 3 already, when water diffuses into it, the plant cell becomes turgid. So this is how we get the word of turgid come from. It's called turgidity. When water diffuses into it, they will provide support. Usually, they will only provide support to non-woody plant. Woody plant, they don't use water as a support mechanism. So only non-woody plant uses water as support. It's called turgidity. Turgid. Okay, turgid is called turgidity. Lysosome is very similar to human stomach. You know, human stomach has function. What is the function of human stomach, guys? Tell me about it. What is the function of human stomach that you know? What is the function of human stomach that you know? Digest of food. Very good. To digest food, right? So digestion of food uses enzyme, right? If you need to digest your protein, you have to use enzyme. So lysosome, they also have an enzyme. It's called hydrolytic enzyme, or we can call this as lysozyme. Okay, you prefer whichever that you like. Some teacher, they don't accept as lysozyme, then you have to write hydrolytic enzyme. So hydrolytic enzyme is the enzyme that they break down substances. Lysosome, they don't break down food generally. They will break down undigested, or sorry, they will break down unwanted organelles or damaged organelles, things that they don't want. For example, if chloroplast is not working, then it will be broken down by the lysosome that secrete lysozyme, which is hydrolytic enzyme. If ROP-ER is not working, then it will be digested by the lysosome. So everything here, it will be digested. Okay, everything here, it will be digested by the lysosome, by the hydrolytic enzyme. Okay, and then we have ribosome. Ribosome, I have no diagram over here, right? Okay, it doesn't mean that it's no diagram. It is because that ribosome is a dot. Okay, it's a dot over here. Ribosome is a dot, where this dot can be found on the ROP-ER. ROP-ER, if you zoom in and see, you can see there are many dots over here. Dot, 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 dot. Okay, these are the dots that you can see. All of these dots are known as ribosome. Okay, what is the function of ribosome? Ribosome is used to synthesize protein. The meaning of synthesize here refers to produce, but we cannot write the word produce. We can only write the word synthesize. We have to synthesize protein. Once they synthesize protein, ROP-ER will transport protein. Okay, ROP-ER, they will transport protein. Where do they transport to? They will transport to Golgi apparatus. So they are a sequence down. Ribosome, ROP-ER, and Golgi apparatus, they have a relationship of these three, okay? Ribosome, ROP-ER, Golgi apparatus is in the sequence over here. Okay, we're gonna go through what is the function of Golgi apparatus first. Golgi apparatus is like a factory. You guys been to any factory before? Any factory in Malaysia that you have been before? Or you guys never been to any factory before? Never? None of you been to any factory, guys. Sounded a bit sad. But it's okay. Like, let's say we have bread factory, we have Maggie factory. Okay, if you go to a factory, let's say bread factory, chocolate factory also can, okay? Any factory also can. So first we have to make it into a bread, right? How do we make it into a bread? We have to add flour, egg, and water. Does freezer in Kidzania count? Kidzania. I don't know. I've never been to Kidzania before, actually. So I don't know how does it really works in Kidzania, like very real thing in Kidzania. I'm not too sure about it. I've never been to Kidzania before. So, oh, you guys been to Kidzania one? Your chocolate also Kidzania one, is it? Okay, doesn't matter. So let's say you go to bread factory lah. So you add water, you add flour, you add egg. So you add everything together. That is a process, right? You add everything together, and then right now you make it into a chocolate flavor, or you might make it into butterscotch flavor. You add chocolate inside. You add butterscotch inside. You modify your bread into a chocolate bread or vanilla bread. And then you package them. Package individually. As you package them individually, you have to transport out. Because it's from the factory to 99 Sigma or even to KK, right? You have to go through the specific location, right? And this is a transportation. Golgi apparatus has the same function as your factory, where you can see process, modify, package, sort, and transport is the same as what I said just now, right? Remember the words in sequence. Remember as P, M, P, S, T, okay? P, M, P, S, T, or P, M, P, T also can. Just in case you just write everything out. Process, modify, package, sort, and transport. The sequence has to be correct. You cannot transport before you process. How do you transport your bread when you have no bread, right? So the sequence has to be correct. You cannot package before you modify as well. So it's process, modify, package, sort, and transport. It comes in a sequence. So what do they modify in the cell? They will modify protein into enzyme. Most likely it will be enzyme, or it can be hormones, it can be phospholipid, it can be glycoprotein. So they have a combination of everything. It's called a process. Either they will be used within the cell or out of the cell. Okay, either they use in the cell or out of the cell by using secretory vesicle. Just now we have a word called transport vesicle. All of the vesicle in biology, they have things inside. Most of the vesicle, they have things inside. So this transport vesicle, okay, what do they contain of? Transport vesicle, it contains of protein. Why? Because they transport protein. Transport protein, right? So it's protein, okay? And then we have secretory vesicle. Most likely, they will be enzyme because in chapter 5, if you have learned it already, your protein will make it into enzyme. When it comes into a sequence, this is how it looks like. First, we start with ribosome. Can you tell me ribosome attached to where? Ribosome attached to? Very good. RAF ER, correct. They attach onto the RAF ER. And then RAF ER, they will transport the protein to Golgi apparatus. I write in short form, yeah. RAF to Golgi apparatus. And then out of cell or use in cell. Use in cell, right? Either these two, right? So when they transport from one point to another point, we have to use different vesicle. For RAF ER to Golgi apparatus, we have to use transport vesicle. Transport vesicle. Golgi apparatus, you have to know this is a secretory vesicle. Secretory vesicle. So the vesicle has to be correct, guys. You cannot be either random vesicle. You have to be transport vesicle from RAF ER to Golgi apparatus. Golgi apparatus out of cell or used within the cell is called secretory vesicle, and they have different content. The reason why they have different content is because that transport vesicle, they only transport protein, right? Where secretory vesicle, they have been undergoing modification. Your protein will form into enzyme later on. So this is a difference. In exam, a very common asked question, they will ask you, what is the relationship between ribosome, RAF ER, and Golgi apparatus? They ask you what is the relationship, then you have to write the function. The dots over here are the function that you have to write, guys. The dots, I say, right, I have put it into a simple, the easiest, the shortest sentence that you have to write in exam. All of these are the shortest sentence already. You cannot really reduce the sentence anymore. Unless it's just, or maybe 1 mark or even half mark. If you have to write a perfect sentence, this is a sentence that you're going to write in exam. Okay, next we have smooth ER. Smooth ER and rough ER, the name is also ends with endoplasmic reticulum, right? What is the difference over here? Rough ER, they have dots. The dot is the rough ER. Smooth ER is without dot. They are smooth. The reason why they are smooth is because they have no dot, and the function is used to synthesize lipid. What does synthesize means? Again, just now we learned the word called synthesize, right? Can you tell me what is the meaning of synthesize? Synthesize means what, guys? Just now you learned. It means produce. Very good. Produce. We will use to produce lipid. Lipid referring to fats. Lipid here referring to fats. So they will synthesize lipid, produce fat. And they will involve in detoxification of drugs. What does detoxification of drugs mean? It means they will remove the unwanted substances from your liver. For example, drugs referring to medication, drugs referring to like literally drugs, or even Panadol, or even alcohol. They have to go through this smooth ER as well. So smooth ER can be found most abundantly in the liver cell. Okay, you can mark it over here. Found most abundantly in liver cell. Abundantly means a lot. Okay, abundantly means a lot. It can be found most abundantly in liver cells. So if the person had a lot of medication, they might have liver problems. Or if a person drink a lot of alcohol, the person will also have liver problem as well. So there are people who have fatty liver, but of course, fatty liver is not because of drugs. It's because of the sugar intake if the person has fatty liver. So this is smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Sometimes the student don't know how to differentiate whether they are rough ER, smooth ER, or Golgi apparatus. How do we differentiate these three diagrams? Yeah, okay, let me draw for you to see. Rough ER is like that. This is rough ER with the dots on top. Dot. This is rough ER. Smooth ER, they have a similar diagram, but without dots. And then for Golgi apparatus, it looks like a Wi-Fi, like Wi-Fi shape, okay? That is Golgi apparatus. The difference between smooth ER and Golgi apparatus is there is no connection point. Smooth ER, they are connected together. Can you see? Golgi apparatus, they are not connected together. The other way to identify them is usually for rough ER and smooth ER, they can be found at the outside of nucleus. Usually, rough ER, smooth ER can be found outside of nucleus. Let me give you an example. This is the nucleus. Outside of it, we have what? We have rough ER, we have smooth ER. This is the Golgi apparatus. Outside of nucleus, we have rough ER, we have smooth ER. This is the Golgi apparatus. So usually outside nucleus, we will have the ER, the endoplasmic reticulum. This is one of the ways that we can identify whether they are rough ER, smooth ER, or even Golgi apparatus. Remember the diagram, right? In exam, they will give you the diagram. So you have to know, this is the rough ER, this is the smooth ER. Okay, last one, we have centrioles. Centrioles can only be found in animal cell. It looks like a cylindrical shape. This is a centrioles. The function is to form spindle fiber. Spindle fiber is a line. If you have learned chapter 6 already, spindle fiber is to pull the chromosome apart to make sure that one cell can form into two cells. Two cells can form into four cells. Everything is because of centriole in animal cell. If you are wondering, what about plant cell? Plant cell got no centriole. Can they carry out cell division? The answer is yes. They don't have to form spindle fiber from the centriole for plant cell. They will form it from the chromosome of the centromere of chromosome. They will also have spindle fiber. Only plant cell and animal cell both have spindle fiber, just that animal cell uses centrioles. So this is the difference between animal cell and plant cell. All of these function over here, you need to know, guys, because even the first exam, you don't see this. Okay, definitely going to see this question, guys. Okay, the first exam, they will ask you to label function, label function. This is one of the popular asked question in your first term exam. Label and function, label and function, label and function. Even you never see this in first term exam, you will still see it even in your SPM. So this is the basic thing that you have to know, guys. It's a basic thing. So it means die also have to know this function. And now before I continue to the next part, anyone has question about organelles and non-organelles? Anybody question? Organelle, non-organelle, you want to ask anything? Is everything okay over here, Ken? Yes, okay. Now, no question, we're going to move to the next one. We have the density of certain organelles in a specific cell. We have three different parts that we have to learn. First one, mitochondria. Mitochondria, singular, plural, doesn't matter, guys, because it's biology. It doesn't really matter. Mitochondria. Just now we learned what is the function of mitochondria? Can you tell me what is the function of mitochondria again? Mitochondria is used to, correct, it's a powerhouse. Very good. It's used to generate energy in the form of ATP. That is the function of mitochondria. So mitochondria can be found most abundantly a lot in muscle cell, sperm cell, and meristematic cell. Let's start with muscle cell first. Muscle cell is used to, muscle has only two functions. Is to contract and to relax. Okay, is to contract and to relax. This is muscle cell. So whenever we move, it requires energy. No matter whether you are writing, dancing, singing, or whatever, okay, everything has to be energy. When there is no energy, you have no energy to move at all. You'll just be lying down. So your muscle cell requires a lot of energy for muscle movement. Sperm cell also requires a lot of energy. Why? Because sperm cell needs to swim. So they have to use a lot of energy to swim to the fallopian tube to carry out fertilization. The distance is actually very long, guys. Okay, the distance is about, if you make it into human, visualize it, it's about 21 km or 42 km marathon for the sperm to swim to the destination. Because sperm is a smaller cell, they have to reach to fallopian tube. It's a very long distance for them to achieve. Without having energy, it means that the sperm cannot swim. When the sperm cannot swim, it means that you're not going to have babies, okay, right? That's why sperm cell requires a lot of energy for them to swim. Ovum, they cannot move because ovum got no tail. So ovum cannot move, only sperm can move. This is how fertilization occurs, by having a lot of mitochondria in the sperm cell. And then we have meristematic cell. What does meristem mean? Meristem means young plant cell. Young plant cell is called meristematic cell. It's called young plant cell. So this young plant cell needs to carry out cell division to grow. Meristem can only be used in plant, cannot be used in human. Okay, imagine as a normal plant, a small plant, they will grow into bigger plant, right? Everything needs energy. The energy comes from mitochondria. Like root, they will be longer to get more water and mineral. The shoot have to be taller to get more sunlight. So the plant has to grow. So meristematic or meristem, referring to young plant cell. So you have to look at the question, whether the question wants you to write which animal cell has a lot of mitochondria or which plant cell has a lot of mitochondria. Which animal cell or which plant cell. So you have to look at the question, guys, okay? Next, we have chloroplast. Chloroplast has chlorophyll, right? They are able to carry out photosynthesis. This is a leaf. The part that has a lot of chloroplast, it will be palisade mesophyll cell. This is a structure of leaf. We have upper epidermis, not important, but palisade mesophyll cell, very important. Palisade mesophyll cell, they arrange closely. Can you see? Arrange closely, arrange upright. They are able to trap a lot of sunlight to carry out photosynthesis. So palisade mesophyll cell has a lot of chloroplasts. We have a lot of chloroplasts. Spongy mesophyll cell, they also have chloroplasts, but it's lesser. Okay, based on this diagram, do you think there is any other cell with chloroplasts as well? In this diagram, is there any part of the leaf has chloroplasts also? Besides palisade mesophyll cell and spongy mesophyll cell, which part in this diagram over here has chloroplasts? What do you think? The gut cell, very good. The gut cell has chloroplasts as well, but of course it's not a lot. It's just lesser chloroplasts. That's why they can control opening and closing of the stomata. So the gut cell has chloroplasts, but it's lesser. To explain our answer, we have to say the same answer law. Why palisade mesophyll cell has a lot of chloroplasts? Because they have to trap more sunlight to convert your light energy into chemical energy during photosynthesis. The explanation are something that you have to know as well. All of these explanations are something that you need to know in exam 2. Okay, and then we have ribosome, rough ER, and Golgi apparatus. Talking about ribosome, can you tell me what is the function of ribosome again? Ribosome is used to synthesize protein. Very good. To produce protein, synthesize protein. Rough ER is used to, what is the function of rough ER? Rough ER is used to transport protein. Very good. Golgi apparatus is used to, okay, there are 5 words, right? Just type the initial, guys. What is the function of Golgi apparatus? Type the initial of the function. PMPST. Very good. Process, modify, package, sort, and transport, right? PMPST. Everything here related to protein. Produce protein, transport protein, modify protein. Everything here related to protein. If you need to find a cell that has a lot of protein, it has to be pancreatic cell. Why? Because pancreatic cell refers to pancreas. Pancreas, they were able to produce a lot of protein, such as enzymes and hormones. Okay, we have enzymes and we have hormones. Enzymes, we have 2 enzymes. The 2 enzymes, oh sorry, 3 enzymes, not 2. We have LAT. We call this as LAT enzyme. Okay, what is a LAT enzyme? It's known as lipase pancreatic amylase and trypsin. Trypsin is a protein enzyme. It's called trypsin. Okay, trypsin is a protein enzyme. Lipase, amylase, and trypsin. Okay, and then we have hormones. We have 2 hormones over here that we have to learn. We have insulin. We have glucagon. These 2 hormones is used to control blood sugar level. These 2 hormones is used to control blood sugar level. For example, insulin is to decrease blood glucose level. Okay, glucagon is to increase blood glucose level. Okay, to decrease and to increase blood glucose level. Okay, so this is the difference between insulin and glucagon. As a diabetic patient, okay, people who have diabetes, they have to inject insulin if they are very serious because they have to reduce their blood sugar level, right? So they're going to inject insulin. In normal human body, we actually have insulin and we actually have our glucagon. But because we are normal, we don't have to inject anything. Insulin is only for people with diabetic. Let's say you lack of glucose in your body. You don't even have to inject glucagon. When you have lower blood sugar level, what you can do, eat sweet, guys. Eat sweet is the easiest way to increase your blood sugar level. Have you guys experienced a situation where you feel very hungry, but after a while, you feel like you are okay? You are like hungry until you are full. Have you guys experienced that situation before? At first, you're very hungry, but after maybe 1 hour later, you feel like, oh, it's okay, maybe not so hungry anymore. It's because that your body produces glucagon for you. Glucagon is a hormone that increases blood sugar level. How do they increase blood sugar level? It's by converting your glycogen. It's a power bank in your body. It's like a power bank. It's to store glucose. They will convert your glycogen to your glucose. So temporarily wise, you have energy. But the storage of glucose, it will be used up like a power bank. So this is the glucagon. That's why we have experienced hungry until you are full. So this is the enzymes and hormones that can be produced by the pancreas. We will learn this in detailedly when we learn about digestive system and also hormone as well. But this is a rough idea for you to know why your ribosome, rough ER, Golgi apparatus can be found most abundantly in the pancreatic cell. Because they can secrete enzymes and hormones, they are made of proteins. So this is the reason why. Okay, now, these 2 pages over here, It's very important, guys. It's like very important, okay? It's not just important for your first term exam. It's important for the entire journey in Form 5. It's very important. Okay, now any question about these 2 pages, guys? Anything you want to ask about these 2 pages? Anything you want to ask? No? Okay, if you have no question, let's try some question right now, guys. Let's see whether you really understand or not. Flip to your question, page 1, question 1. Let's try all these questions together. Yeah, I'm going to try a few questions. Diagram 1 shows an animal cell as seen under an electron microscope. Name structure W, X, Y, Z. Let's start with labeling first. Okay, let's start with maybe Y first, guys. Okay, inside over here is actually the nucleus, but it didn't draw the nucleus. This is actually a nucleus. Outside nucleus is Y. Can you see Y? Is there any dot on top of Y? It's connected together, right? No dots, right? So if it's no dots, what is this? They are connected together, correct? They are smooth ER, but we cannot write ER in exam. We have to write smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum. You cannot write short form, cannot write SER. You have to write smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, next, let's label X. Can you see X? They are not connected together. They are separated. So what is X? X is Golgi apparatus, correct? Golgi apparatus. Usually when we write Golgi apparatus, the G has to be capital. The G has to be capital, Golgi apparatus. And then we have Z. Z inside looks like a cloud. Can you see? It looks like a cloud. So what is Z? Correct, mitochondria. Very good. Mitochondria. This is mitochondria. And W looks like a cylindrical shape. This cylindrical shape is the centrioles. It can only be found in animal cell. This is a 2D diagram, guys, because as a 3D shape, centriole should be a cylindrical shape, but this is a 2D shape. That's why it looks like a round shape over here. Okay, we have named X, Y, Z already, W, X, Y, Z already. Let's look at the next question. Which one? There's no rough ER in this diagram here. There's no dots. There's no rough ER in this diagram because it didn't give you the dots over here. Okay, state one function of W and Y. W is centrioles. Can you tell me what is a function of centrioles? What page is this? This is page 1 of your question 1, dear. Page 1, question 1. To form spindle fiber for cell division. Very good. Okay, they can form spindle fiber during cell division. Okay, next we have Y. Y is smooth ER. Smooth ER has 2 functions. You can choose either one to write. What is the function of smooth ER? Smooth ER function. What is the function of smooth ER? Synthesize lipid, correct? To carry out detoxification. Both also correct. So you can say synthesize lipid, or you can write carry out detoxification of drugs. Carry out detoxification of drugs. Okay, now done with this, we're gonna move to next one. Name one example of a cell that has a lot of components Z. Z is mitochondria that we have labeled. Animal cell. Animal cell with a lot of mitochondria should be. We have only 2 animal cells with a lot of mitochondria, right? Correct. We have sperm cell, muscle cell. Okay, you can choose either one to write. You want to write sperm cell also can. You want to write muscle cell also can, but you have to make sure that whatever you choose, you need to explain your answer later on. So if you know how to explain sperm cell, then you write sperm cell. If you don't know, then you write muscle cell. Okay, let's say I write muscle cell. Okay, this is muscle cell. Muscle cell. Give the role that mentioned in C1, not B1. What is the function? Why do you think that mitochondria can be found most abundantly in muscle cell? Muscle has only 2 actions. There's only 2 actions. In order to produce a movement, they need to what and what? Contract and relax. Very good. Contract and relax. So you can say, okay, if it's only 1 mark, we're gonna write 1 sentence. But imagine this is 2 marks. How do we explain for 2 marks? Because usually it's 2 marks question. To explain in 2 marks question, you can say Z able to generate more energy in the form of ATP. Muscle cell contract and relax to create movement. Okay, usually when the question has the word a lot of, your answer needs to have more or increases or even higher. So you have to make sure that in your question has the word a lot of, your answer has to be increase more. Okay, you have to make sure that you have a word that relate back to your question. Or you can say high density of Z. So high density is also referring back to a lot of. So you have to make sure that they have a relationship over here when you explain your answer. If you want to make it into one sentence, you can write muscle cell generate more energy in the form of ATP to contract and relax to create movement also can. Okay, what will happen to a cell if component Z fails to function? Okay, you have to relate back to your question because just now we write about muscle cell, right? So if there is no mitochondria, do you no, sorry guys. Do you think your muscle do you think your muscle can react? I mean, like can create a movement when it fails to function? Whenever they say fails to function, just write unable and then the function of it. Okay, what is the function of mitochondria? Generate energy. Cannot generate energy, cannot create movement. Just add the word unable and then you write the function of it. So you can say unable to generate energy that causes muscle cell unable or cannot create movement. Teacher, can you write no zygote is produced for sperm? Cannot. You cannot write no zygote. You can only write no fertilization, but you cannot say no zygote. So if you write sperm, you can say the sperm unable to swim and unable to fertilize with ovum in fallopian tube. But you cannot say no zygote is produced. Okay, D1, name one component that exists in only plant cell. What other thing can only be found in plant cell, but animal cell don't have? Can only be found in plant cell. Very good. We have cell wall, we have chloroplast, and we have large vacuole. You can choose one to write. So let's say I write cell wall. Cell wall, okay. Next one. Write one of the component that can be found in animal cell only. It's the centrioles. Very good. Centrioles can only be found in animal cell. Okay, we are done with question 1. Anybody has question related to question 1? Anybody has question that they want to ask about question 1? No? Okay, no question. Let's go to next part. Question 2. Diagram below shows the structure of a cell observed under an electron microscope. Structure P can only be found in plant cell. Name structure P and the function. Okay, based on this diagram, we say structure P can only be found in plant cell. So what is P, guys? Can only be found in plant cell. So this is the outer layer of a plant cell. So P will be cell wall. Very good. Okay, so you say P is cell wall. What is the function of cell wall? Cell wall is to maintain the shape of a plant cell. Very good. Okay, it maintains shape of plant cell. It maintains the shape. Provide mechanical support to plant cell, also correct. A lot of students, they will ask, teacher, can I write this in exam? Can I write point form in exam? Answer is yes, you can write point form, but you have to remember your point form cannot be just keyword. You cannot say, cell wall, maintain shape. Of course, by writing this forward, your answer is not correct. Your sentence have to be a short sentence and a complete sentence. Short and complete, as you can see, I write, P is cell wall. This is correct. I cannot say it's cell wall. And I say, it maintain the shape of plant cell. It over here referring to cell wall, right? Or you can say cell wall maintain the shape of plant cell also can. You need to have subject in front when you write the function of it, or when you write anything, you cannot just write keyword, but you can write in short sentences. This is how we write the answer in exam. Yeah. Structure Q is found in both plant cell and animal cell. Name structure Q and one of the main characteristics of this structure. Structure Q. Okay, what is structure Q, guys? Means after cell wall. What is Q? It's a plasma membrane, correct? We don't write cell membrane anymore. We have to write plasma membrane. Remember, no cell membrane. Cell membrane is what you write in lower form, but you have to write plasma membrane. So Q is plasma membrane. Plasma membrane has only one function or one characteristic. What is the characteristic of plasma membrane? What is the characteristic of plasma membrane? Very good. Semi-permeable, or you can write selectively permeable, or you can write partially permeable, whichever you prefer. It is semi-permeable, or you can write selectively permeable, but there's only one characteristic. Just choose one to write characteristic. Okay, what are the structure P and Q made of? Okay, let's look at P and Q. P, we have cell wall. Q, we have plasma membrane. So let's look at P first, guys. Cell wall, just now we say, right, they are made of a sugar that is not sweet. So what do you call the sugar that's not sweet as? Cellulose. Very good. Okay, so they are made of cellulose. Cellulose is a polysaccharide. If in the school you have learned it before, polysaccharide is not sweet. They are non-soluble in water. And then Q is plasma membrane. Plasma membrane, we learned it in chapter 3. We have two components that can be found to make a plasma membrane. First is, remember there's a head and tail. Remember these guys? What do you call this as? Phospholipid, correct? And then we have another thing. Example or something like that. Okay. What is this? A protein, correct? So they are actually made of phospholipid and also protein. So the answer is made of phospholipid. Don't have to write by layer also can. And protein. If you have no idea what is a phospholipid, this is under chapter 3, the 3.1. Okay, you learn this in 3.1, where we learn about the head has a name, is called polar phosphate head. The tail is called non-polar fatty acid tail. So this is something that we have learned it before in chapter 3. But if you don't remember, again, I say that I have posted a video in my YouTube before, so you can watch what is a phospholipid by layer, what is a protein, how do we differentiate them. Because today we will not go through about chapter 3. So if you're not very good at chapter 3, you can watch the video, okay? State two examples of cell sap content. Cell sap is the vacuole. What is in the vacuole? What is inside the vacuole? What is inside the vacuole? Vacuole has cell sap, right? Cell sap is the general idea, right? We have glucose, very good. What else besides glucose? Amino acid, correct? Water, correct? Water, amino acid, or even mineral also correct. Just choose two to write. Nutrients, waste product also correct, guys. There's a lot of things that you can write in cell sap. So we have a lot of examples as a cell sap. So next, read the following information. Structure R is usually found in the cell of a green plant. Based on statement above, explain the importance of structure R to green plants. If you look at structure R over here, what do you think structure R is? What is R? What is this R? They have they're like a KLCC kind of thing, the Baymax eyes kind of thing. This is a chloroplast. Very good. This is a chloroplast. So first we can say R is chloroplast. Okay, what causes green plant to be green color? What is inside the chloroplast? Chloroplast contains of a green pigment. The green pigment called chlorophyll. Very good. Chloroplast contains of chlorophyll. The function of chlorophyll is to trap sunlight. Without chlorophyll, there will be no photosynthesis. So they will trap sunlight. So you can say chloroplast contains of chlorophyll that trap sunlight and convert into chemical energy during photosynthesis. We have to write the entire sentence out. contains chlorophyll that traps sunlight and convert into chemical energy during photosynthesis. So chlorophyll is the one that traps sunlight. Okay, the reason why plants are green color, number one, because they have chlorophyll. Number two is because they reflected all of the green light. That's why the plants, usually they are green in color. Of course, not every plant cell are green color. Some of our plant cells are not green color. For example, carrot is not green color, right? An onion is that purple color. So not every plant cell has chloroplast, but majority of plant cells, they have chloroplast. Okay, 2, write one word equation to show overall. Why do some leaves when like fall, they change color? It's because that the chlorophyll in the plant cell reduces. So the other color pigment will show up. The other color pigment is either orange color or red color. When you have high level of chlorophyll, the other color pigment will reduce. When you have low level of chlorophyll, the other color pigment will show up. So that's why in different seasons, they have different color. In one plant cell, it's not just green color alone. Because they have high level of chlorophyll, the other color pigment is being suppressed. That's why they don't show other color. So that's why they have changes of color. Okay, we will learn about these changes of colors when we learn about plants actually. It's very interesting things that we learn about plants. Why some plants not green color, why some plants are red color, why some plants are purple color. We will learn about that when we learn about plants. Okay, write one word equation. The key word here is a word equation. Word means what? It means you cannot write H2O. You have to write water. Cannot write CO2. You have to write carbon dioxide. Okay, tell me, to carry out photosynthesis, what do they need? To carry out photosynthesis, what do they need? Need what? Sunlight, very good. Okay, besides sunlight, carbon dioxide, correct? Water, very good. Okay, let me write this one first. Carbon dioxide. No CO2, it's carbon dioxide. Water. With the presence of sunlight, as you guys mentioned, sunlight has to be on top of the arrow because light is always on top. Okay, what else below the arrow? Sunlight is being trapped by chlorophyll, not chloroplast, but chlorophyll. Chlorophyll. They were produced into 2 products. What are the 2 products? Glucose, very good. What else? And oxygen, correct. Glucose and oxygen. So that's why when we breathe, the oxygen is most likely to come from plants. We have a lot of plants nearby around your house. It's one of the reasons why your government wants to have clear oxygen, more oxygen, and also for aesthetic purposes, oxygen. And then glucose is the food that we eat. And this is the word equation. We don't really learn about chemical equation in biology. Usually we just learn about word equation. Most of the time it's just word equation. But of course, if they want you to write chemical equation, you just change to chemical equation. But I don't think biology will ask you to write chemical equation. Chemical equation is more on chemistry. Okay, which organelle is involved in modifying, sorting, and packaging of protein? If you want to act like a factory, you're going to be a factory, right? What is the organelle that acts like a factory? It's called Golgi apparatus. Very good. Usually when we write, we have to write a capital letter, guys. Golgi apparatus. The G has to be capital most of the time. State 1 tissue in which organelle in E found abundantly. Okay, E is chloroplast, right? Which tissue can be found most abundant, can have a lot of chloroplast? Which part of the leaves has a lot of chloroplast? Organelle, not organ. Organelle means in the leaf. Which part of the leaf has a lot of chloroplast? The palisade mesophyll cell. Very good. Okay, you can write palisade mesophyll tissue because it's tissue, right? But you can write palisade mesophyll cell also correct. Tissue also correct whichever you write in exam should be correct. Okay. Give a reason for your answer in G1. Why palisade mesophyll cell needs to have a lot of chloroplast? The way that they arrange closely, they arrange upright because they want to trap more sunlight. They can increase the rate of photosynthesis. Okay, to write in sentence, you can say they arrange closely, tightly, upright to trap more sunlight to increase rate of photosynthesis. to increase the rate of photosynthesis. Done with this? Let me know, guys. Done? Okay, now done. Let's look at next page. 2.3 shows the longitudinal section of an onion bulb. The onion bulb is planted in soil. First, think about the color of onion bulb first. Do you think onion bulb is green color? Do you think onion bulb? No, right? Not green color, right? So next question asks you, explain why organelle R is not present in onion scale leaf. Because as an onion, they don't need to carry out photosynthesis. When they need is only when they form leaves. But if it's underground, they don't have to form leaves. Then what is the function of onion bulb since they don't have to carry out photosynthesis? What is the function of this onion bulb underground? It's used to store food. All of the onion bulb is used to store food. The food will be used during germination. If they want to form a leaf, the food comes from the onion bulb. So they will use the food that's stored in the onion bulb to carry out germination, and then they will form a leaf. Leaf has to be green color because leaf is the one that carry out photosynthesis. So to explain your answer, you can say that onion bulb does not need to carry out photosynthesis. Hence, it does not need chloroplast. And then you can say onion bulb is used to store food. Onion bulb is used to store food. That is a function of onion bulb. So onion bulb can survive even when there's no sunlight because they are not green in color. That's why I say not every plant has to be green color. Some plants, they are not green color because they don't even need to carry out photosynthesis. Okay, now these two, you have to think about the answer. Explain what happens to the growth of an onion plant if onion bulb is placed in a dark cardboard. Okay, what happens to the growth of onion plant? Plant means that they will start to form leaf, right? So if they want to form leaf, the growth will become slower because leaf, right? They will use up the sugar, the storage of the food is in the onion bulb, and then the rate, it will reduce because the food is used to carry out germination to form new leaves. Okay, I will draw the graph for you to see later. But right now, I'll form sentence first. I will show you the graph later. The growth becomes slow. This is because the food storage in bulb is used to form new leaves. Okay, the graph of this onion bulb is like that. We have a graph. Okay, this is the growth rate. This is the time. Usually the graph looks like that. This is the growth of onion bulb. Okay, why this part will decrease is because that this is germination process. They will use the food in the onion bulb. And then why this part will increase is because that they carry out photosynthesis. So that's why they will decrease and they will increase. We also learn about this when we learn about plants. So that's why the growth rate becomes lower. But when they form a new leaf, the growth rate will increase when they have leaf because they are able to carry out photosynthesis. So this is how it works. Okay, now if you have done with this, you let me know. We're going to move to the next subtopic. Okay, if you have done, you let me know, yeah, guys. Done, you let me know. I'll move to the next subtopic. Done? Okay, nice. Now we're going to flip back to the notes. We're going to learn about cell organization in unicellular organism. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now back to this. Let's look at cell organization. This is in unicellular. What does uni means? Uni means one cell. They are made of only one cell. We have amoeba species, we have paramecium species. What do you have to take note in this part? We have to know amoeba species A has to be capital letter. Later, I show you the answer again. Okay, P has to be capital letter. Okay, A, amoeba species is a capital letter. P has to be capital letter. SP dot referring to species, we have to write SP dot. Okay, we don't really spell species. We have to write SP dot. Amoeba species, paramecium species. We have to learn starting from the label part first. Everything that you learn in biology, we have to start from label, function, and process. Okay, label, function, and process. Let's start from amoeba species. Amoeba species, they don't have a fixed shape. They have looks like a jelly, like a slime kind of thing, but they don't have a fixed shape. They have hands and legs. The hands and legs are known as pseudopodium. So this is the false limb, false hand, and false leg. This is a false hand and false leg. It's called pseudopodium. Pseudopodium, false hand and false leg. So you will use the pseudopodium to move and to use the pseudopodium to eat. So they can eat, they can move by having the pseudopodium. Okay, next. What is inside the amoeba species? We have 3 things that is important. Number 1, if it's fully shaded, in your exam is black and white. If it's fully shaded, it will be a nucleus. Fully shaded has to be a nucleus. What is the function of nucleus? Like a normal nucleus function. So control cell activity. That is the function of nucleus. Next, we have 2 round shape over here. These 2 shape is actually the vacuole, but they have different vacuole. If they are empty inside, can you see this is empty inside? When they are empty inside, it is known as contractile vacuole. Contractile vacuole is very similar to human urinary bladder. It's like a bladder. Now, when your bladder is full, you have to pee. It's the same idea. Contractile vacuole function is to control osmotic regulation. You can write it over here. Yeah. Is to control osmotic regulation. Osmotic regulation referring to water balance in cell. Osmo means what? Osmo means water. Regulation means regulate. When the terms ends with ION, it means it's a process. So the entire sentence of osmotic regulation means it's a process that regulates water balance in cell. It's called osmotic regulation. PP process, correct? PP process, okay? Is for them to release extra water out. Because amoeba species and paramecium species, they live in water. Either the lake or river or even waterfall. They have a lot of amoeba species and paramecium species. So sometimes you accidentally eat them. If you go to waterfall, so they will move to the shaded region because they don't like sunlight. We also don't like sunlight, right? So you're going to move to the shaded region. If you play water at the waterfall, you will accidentally drink them and eat them. But it's okay, guys. You can't even see them. They won't cause any problem to you because they don't like acidic condition. When it enters to your stomach, they will die. Not you die, but they die. Don't worry about it. Okay, and then we have brain-eating amoeba. Okay, so next we have food vacuole. Food vacuole inside must have food. Can you see there's food inside? They have food, right? So food vacuole must have food. It's like a stomach. They will digest the food later. This is the food vacuole. So based on the diagram, to recognize it, if it's fully shaded darker color, this one has to be vacuole. If it's empty inside, this is a contractile vacuole. If there is food inside, it will be food vacuole. This is the label that you have to know. But for paramecium species, it's a bit special because paramecium species, they will have the cilia. Cilia is hair-like structure. It's called cilia. Okay, the cilia is called hair-like structure. So this cilia over here, they are able to move. It's called beating of cilia. So they will use this to move. And they don't move straight. They will kind of turn around. I will show you a video later for you to see how does it turn around. Can we human create a human brain-eating amoeba and start a zombie apocalypse? Of course cannot, guys. Why? Why do you want this to happen? Okay, of course cannot. Now, talking about paramecium species, they have a fixed shape and they have contractile vacuole. They also have food vacuole. Contractile vacuole over here, they are not round in shape. It looks like a sun. Sun, can you see a sun? Contractile vacuole, contractile vacuole. So we have anterior and we have posterior. We learned this in chapter 1. Anterior is front. Posterior means back. Okay, you learned this in chapter 1, right? Front means anterior, posterior means to the back. So the function is the same. What is the function of contractile vacuole again? To control what, guys? The function of contractile vacuole is to control osmotic regulation. Very good. Okay, it's to control osmotic regulation. It's to control water balance in cell. Next, we have food vacuole. A food vacuole can be anything over here because again I mentioned in exam is black and white. And because contractile vacuole is a sun shape. Then the round shape here should be the food vacuole. Yeah, it should be the food vacuole over here. Okay, it's not just this. They have two nucleus. Amoeba has only one nucleus. Paramecium has two nucleus. These two nucleus has a bigger nucleus and a smaller nucleus. How do we see which one is bigger or smaller? Quite obvious. This is smaller. This is bigger, right? Smaller, bigger, right? Smaller one is known as micronucleus. This is the smaller one. Okay, macro is the bigger one. They have different function. The bigger nucleus and smaller nucleus, they have different function. Small nucleus is to control reproduction. Later, you will know what is the reproduction that carried out by paramecium species. Macronutrients, the bigger one, is to control metabolic activities. What is metabolic activities? It means cell activities. It's called metabolic activities. So we have micronutrients, we have macronutrients. Okay, so this is macro and micronutrients. Okay, now, the other special thing about paramecium species is they have an oral groove. What is an oral groove? Oral means mouth. You know there's a brand called Oral-B. Do you guys know that there's a brand called Oral-B? Have you guys heard of Oral-B before? Never heard of Oral-B? Okay, oral means what? Oral means correct the toothbrush brand. Okay, oral means the teeth is called oral. Oral. Okay, so this oral groove, it means mouth. Groove, it means there's a loop going down. It's called groove. Oral groove. Okay, so oral groove, when they have mouth, they will have anus. This is anus. Anus can be any part. It can be here, it can be here, it can be any part. This is the anus. Remember, it's called anus, not asshole, please. Okay, anus, not asshole. Remember your spelling. Anus. Anus is the one that they will shit out. So they will use their mouth to eat. They will use their anus to shit. It's like a very human thing. It's a very human thing. Okay, so this is the labor part. You have to know the labor part first. Okay, after knowing the labor, we have to look at the differences in reproduction. Every living organism, they are able to reproduce. For amoeba species, they have sexual and they have asexual. Amoeba has only asexual. Asexual means what? A means no partner. It's only themselves. It's called asexual. Only one. Asexual reproduction, they will carry out binary fission. Binary means 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8. It's called binary fission. Means they will split themselves into two. Binary fission. They will carry out binary fission in favorable condition. Favorable means what? It means that enough of oxygen, enough of water, enough of food is called favorable. If it's not favorable, they will form spore. Like mushroom, they will form spore. So this is favorable and not favorable condition. Favorable means that they have enough of oxygen, enough of water, enough of nutrients. Not favorable means that they are dry, they have cold temperature, lack of water. So this is asexual for amoeba species. Paramecium species, they are able to carry out sexual and asexual. Asexual, as I mentioned, it means without partner. It's called binary fission again. 1 to 2, 2 to 4, nothing special. We have learned binary fission just now. Sexual means that they need a partner. This partner is the same partner, guys. Okay, it means that to carry out conjugation, which is sexual reproduction, the mouth of another amoeba species or paramecium species, they have to face next to the oral groove. So it means they kiss, they also have baby. So the oral groove of paramecium species will join together and they will exchange the nucleus. This is how they exchange nucleus. They exchange nucleus and both of these species, they will have babies. In not favorable. Not favorable means what? It means when they are dry, not they are dry. Sorry, the surrounding is dry, okay? When the surrounding is dry and when there's no food, then they will kiss and then they have babies. So kiss got baby can only happen to paramecium species, not in human. Human cannot kiss have baby one, guys. If kiss got baby, I don't know how many baby in the world already. So only paramecium species, they will kiss to have baby. This is conjugation. And then they will also eat. Every living organism, they have to eat. Amoeba species is the most important one, guys. In exam, they always ask about this phagocytosis. It's a feeding process. Mark a star over here. It's a very common asked easy question for phagocytosis. Now, how do they eat food? By phagocytosis. Imagine I am amoeba species. What does amoeba eat? Amoeba usually eat bacteria. Or not usual condition, they will eat themselves. Means eat the same species or they will eat paramecium species. So usually they eat bacteria, okay? So imagine I am the amoeba species. Do you think that food will come to me or I will have to go to the food? As a normal situation, who goes to who? Amoeba goes to the food or food goes to amoeba? Of course, amoeba goes to the food, right? If you want to eat, do you think the food goes to your mouth? No, right? Okay, imagine I'm the amoeba species. I have to go to the food. Okay, imagine this is my food. Okay, this is my food. Amoeba species, how do I go to the food? I will extend pseudopodium and engulf food. Engulf means you hug, like a hugging process. Okay, hug the food. I will form a food vacuole. But in this food vacuole, I have no enzyme. To digest the food, what can I do? When I form a food vacuole over here, the lysosome will bind with the food vacuole. Okay, lysosome binds with the food vacuole. What is in the lysosome? We have, what is in lysosome, guys? That's what we learned. Lysosome contains of what? Correct, the enzyme called lysozyme, or we can mention as hydrolytic enzyme. The enzymes will break down the food. Okay, the food, it will be digested. When they got digested, nutrients are absorbed into the cytoplasm of amoeba species. When I absorb the nutrients, like human, we have to use the nutrients. It's called assimilation. Assimilation means what? It means you use it into different function. Like glucose, they will form into energy. It's called assimilation. Amino acid, they will form to produce new cell. It's also called assimilation. Okay, so this is assimilation process. I will extend, engulf, digest food, absorb nutrients. Right now, we have leftover food. The leftover food is called undigested food. In another word, it's called shit. But we don't use shit in biology. We use undigested food, okay? The undigested food, it will be left behind as you move forward. This is the phagocytosis. It's a very common asked essay question in exam. They ask you to explain what is a phagocytosis. You're going to write everything from here. This is a sentence that you have to write. So remember, you approach the food. Imagine you're amoeba species. You approach the food, extend pseudopodium, engulf food, form a food vacuole, fills with lysosome, uses enzyme to digest the food, absorb nutrients, undigested food will be left behind as amoeba species move forward. This is the feeding process of amoeba species. Paramecium species is very human. Why? Because they eat with their mouth. They will go in from the oral groove. They will form into a food vacuole, and then they will fuse with lysosome as well. Digest the food, absorb the nutrients. Undigested food, it will be left. It will be excreted out through anus. It's very human lah. Eat with the mouth, shit with the anus, something like that. It's very similar to human. But usually in exam, they would like to ask about amoeba species. And then we have excretion process. Excretion means that you remove things that you don't want. So as amoeba species, they don't want carbon dioxide. They don't want extra water. So they have to remove out. Excretion process. It's like human. When you drink a lot of water, you have to pee a lot, right? When you drink a lot of water, you have to pee a lot. What if you drink a lot of water, but you never pee? What happened, guys? You drink a lot of water, but you never pee. What happened to you? Okay, of course you don't burst because you are human, right? What will happen to you is where your kidney will have kidney stone. You burst means what? Your entire body bursts, cannot be, right? So your kidney will have kidney stone. And also, sometimes you'll pee on your pants if you cannot hold your pee. But for amoeba species, they will really burst, guys, because they are one cell. When the water keep on diffusing into the contractile vacuole, into it to the maximum size, when they don't remove the water out, they will actually burst, literally burst. So water diffuses into the maximum size, they will expand to the maximum size, they will contract and expel water out. Okay, they will contract and expel water out. So this is how they remove excess water out from the body. No matter whether it's paramecium or amoeba species, it works the same. Water diffuses into the maximum size, it contracts and expel water out. Without having this process, the amoeba species or paramecium species, they will burst. This is the 3 sentences that you have to write in exam if they ask you to explain excretion process. Remember, the process is called osmoregulation. Osmoregulation is to control water balance in cell. Your cell cannot have too much of water. It's called osmoregulation. Okay, let me show you some video about this, so you can understand this better. Okay, let me show you some video. How does amoeba species or paramecium species move? Wait, let me show you a video over here. Give me a moment. Let me show you the video. Yeah. Wait, okay. Haven't shared. Okay, this one. Okay, so can you see my share screen of the channel? Yes, right. Okay, now let me show you how amoeba species eats. So this is how they eat. They will extend the pseudopodium. This is the food over here. Yeah, they will extend the pseudopodium. And then they will engulf the food. engulf the food, extend pseudopodium, engulf food, and then they will form into a food vacuole. In this food vacuole, it's empty. In order to digest them, they will fuse with lysosome. So the lysosome will secrete an enzyme called hydrolytic enzyme. Can you see they are struggling? But no point, they already died. You cannot even get up from this thing. So they will absorb nutrients. The undigested food will be left behind when they move forward. It can be any part also can. And then we have paramecium species. As I mentioned, paramecium species, they don't move straight. They will turn around. If you notice, they are turning around. Can you see they are turning around over here? This is how paramecium species move. Turn, okay? I will show you another one. It's more obvious. This one. Can you see the cilia is it's called beating of cilia. Beating of cilia. And then they will turn. Turn. See, so this is how they move in water. This is how they move in water. Okay. Next. We have conjugation. Can you see the mouth, the oral group of both paramecium species? They join together. They kiss. Kiss means that they're exchanging genetic information. This is how they have baby, by kissing. This conjugation. Okay, and then we have contractile vacuole. Look at this part. This is the contractile vacuole of paramecium species. Look at the sun. Can you see? When water diffuses into the maximum size, they will contract and expel water out. So water goes in to the maximum size. They will contract and expel water out. Every amoeba species and paramecium species, it works the same. This one. Expand to the maximum size, contract and expel water out. Without doing this process, they will burst. They will have the contraction every few seconds because they live in water. So this is how they control osmotic regulation. Okay, another one. Carry out binary fission. How does binary fission works? From one cell into two cells, right? Can you see this like forming into two cells over here? They are carrying a binary fission. 1 into 2 cell. Okay, let me show you when they are splitting. About that, can you see they are about to split into 2 parts? Both of these two has to be the same because they have the same gene. It's splitting of themselves. So they are actually binary fission now, like mitosis now. 1 to 2, 2 to 4 lah, binary fission. And then they will be separated in a bit of time. You can see they'll be separated. Can you see? It's only tiny little part that are connected together. This is real time, I believe. So about that, you see they are splitting already soon. In maybe a few more seconds, they got breakout. They are still together. They will break up in a bit. Okay, how come? Ta-da! Okay, they form into 2 cells already right now. Ta-da! They form into 2 cells. So this is how they carry out binary fission. Same goes to amoeba species. They will also do the same thing. And then next one. This is also conjugation, but it's almost the same as just now. So when they put oral group together, they will exchange the nucleus. Same as just now, nothing to see like that all. They will exchange genetic information by sticking the oral group together. Nothing special over here. And this one I'm going to show you. Look at these guys. How amoeba species eats 2 paramecium. This is amoeba species. Can you see how fast is them? Look at this. They join together, they'll form into a food vacuole. And then these paramecium species, you don't even notice they are inside already. And then they form into food vacuole. And then they start to have enzyme. And then right now they are struggling. But too late lah, guys. Too late. Too sad. They die. They're gonna die in a bit. And they got digested soon. So this is how they digest the food. So that's why I say amoeba species is not just eating amoeba species. Oh, sorry, not just eating bacteria. They can also eat amoeba species. They can also eat paramecium species. As long as they are able to extend and engulf the entire thing. They can eat everything already. So they can eat a lot of things. So this is how amoeba species survive in water. Don't worry, it will not happen to your body, guys, because they cannot live in acidic condition. So don't worry, it's not going to happen to you when you eat amoeba species. Okay, now look back to the notes. Like the worm game. Oh, that's old game, guys. It's very old game. Yeah, like a worm game. Like the, what's called that? It's called agar.io. I don't know if you guys know the game or not. Agar.io. I played that a lot during MCO time. It's an online game. But yeah. Anyway, it's like that. Okay, now go back to the notes again. Okay, so let's look back to this. So for amoeba species and paramecium species, it's one of the things that you will see in exam. They ask about feeding, they ask about excretion process. Amoeba species, this is unicellular. After unicellular, we will learn about multicellular, which is human. Okay, I believe that you guys are very curious about human because you are human yourself. You have to know what is in your body. We have a system that we have to remember. It's in a sequence. Yeah, we have cell form into tissue, into organ, into system, into organism. Is a sequence down. Cell into tissue. What is a tissue? Tissue is a group of similar cells. Okay, a group of similar cells that perform a specific function. Why do we have a specific function? Because they carry out a process called cell differentiation or cell specialization. That's why they have a specific function. Without having this cell differentiation or cell specialization, they will never have a specific function. And then we have organ. Organ, they are made of different type of tissue. Organ, they are made of different type of tissue that works together to perform a specific function. And then we have system, different organs, and we have organism. Usually in exam, they will only ask you about tissue and organ. They ask you what is tissue, you're going to write a group of similar cells that works together to perform a specific function. If they ask you what is organ, you have to write different type of tissue. So what is a cell? We have many different examples of cell over here. We have epithelial cell, red blood cell, white blood cell, nerve cell, muscle cell, sperm ovum. We will learn this in the tissue because actually for every part we have to learn. Tissue is the one that we have to focus because in exam they always ask about tissue first. We have epithelial tissue. In human, in animal cell, what does epithelial means? Epithelial means the outermost layer. The outermost layer is called epithelial. The outermost layer. It's not necessary it's just the skin. We have internal organs as well, okay? The outermost layer. So we have 5 different epithelial tissue. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 in total. They don't really have name because we don't have to remember the name. We only have to know the location. Don't need to know the name, yeah? So for plant is epidermis, correct? For plant is called epidermal. For animal is called epithelial. We will learn about plant later, but it's referring to the outermost lah. Okay, looking at this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you notice that number 2 and number 5, it looks very similar? Number 2 and 5 is very similar. How do we know which one is number 2 and number 5? Number 2, they actually have a lot of hair over here. Can you see there's a lot of hair? There's hair on top on number 2. But number 5 got nothing over there. It's clear on top. So number 2 and number 5, the only difference is with the hair. Okay, let's start with number 1 first. Number 1, they are layer by layer. Layer like that. Layer by layer. So this layer by layer can be found on the skin, your mouth, and your esophagus. Actually, most of the epithelial function is to secrete mucus. Mucus is a sticky thing. It's called mucus, and they are also able to help in digestion of food to secrete enzyme. We'll talk about that later. So it's to act as a protective layer generally. So your skin, your mouth, your esophagus, they will act as a protective layer. So number 2, lining of trachea. So there's hair, right? This hair-like structure is called cilia. It can be found on the trachea. So what is the function of this epithelial tissue? They are able to secrete mucus. This mucus can trap dust particle. Okay, the mucus over here, they can trap dust particle. That's why you have to prevent your dust from entering to your lungs. Sometimes you use your mouth to breathe very oftenly. You don't use your nose. When you are talking, most of the time, maybe you use your mouth to breathe. It's very normal. But your mouth don't have hair. Your nose has hair. Your nose can block the dust particle, right? But your mouth don't have. So in this situation, what will happen is your trachea will have the dust particle, will have to trap the dust particle by having cilia and mucus. When we have a lot of dust, what do we do to clear our throat? We will do this action. We will do sometimes you do it accidentally, you do it unconsciously. Okay. So you okay, and then your trachea and your esophagus, the trapped dust particle, it will go back to your esophagus. You will swallow back to your stomach. Some people in the world, they will put it onto the floor. They will spit to the floor. Sometimes some people they will do that, but most of the time it will swallow back to our stomach because your stomach has hydrochloric acid to break down the dust particle. Okay. Number 3 is only 1 layer. When you see 1 layer, it can only be found in lungs, body cavity, or blood vessel. What does body cavity means? Body cavity refers to space, your spaces. Can you see that your lung inside has space? Your blood vessel inside also have space, right? So they have to be 1 cell thick. 1 cell thick is to allow them to carry out gases exchange or nutrients exchange more easily. That's why it has to be one cell tick. Number 4, it looks like a sweet corn. This sweet corn over here, okay, it's called duct or tubules. Okay, what is a duct? What is a tubule? It's a tube, like tube, T-U-B, like tube, okay? So it can be found in kidney. Kidney have many tubes because they need to form more urine. So it's called the ducts or kidney tube to form urine. Number 5 is the lining of small intestine. Intestine has 2 functions. First is to digest food. Number 2 is to absorb nutrients. Your intestine has only 2 functions: absorb nutrients and digest food. So this is the epithelial tissue. In exam, how do they ask about epithelial tissue? They will ask you, maybe in objective question, okay, they will ask you, where can you find this epithelial tissue? In objective question, they give you A, B, C, D. Number 1 is A, number B is trachea, number C is body cavity, number 4 is duct. So you're going to choose A is the answer. So they give you A, B, C, D. So you're going to recognize the diagram to know where is the location of it. So this is the objective question. Subjective question, I will say, is very rare for you to see this in exam. Very rare. Rare doesn't mean they don't come out. Just it's very rare. So this is epithelial tissue. Okay, next we have nerve tissue. Personally, I think that nerve tissue is very important. When you have more nerve tissue, it means that your reaction is faster. So your nerve tissue, they have to connect together in order to be faster, because nerve tissue is to transmit nerve impulses. What does it mean? It means right now, when I'm speaking to you, you have an immediate reaction to me, right? Well, because your nerve impulses is fast. If I speak to you, you take 5 seconds to digest or 5 seconds to react. That is very slow, guys. 5 seconds, you know. Most of the time, the old people, the elderly, nerve tissue is not as much as youngster. So the reaction is actually slower. They cannot go and play roller skating. They cannot even play those, have to be very fast reaction, because the nerve tissue is actually lesser. The reaction is lower. When you talk to them, it takes about maybe 3 seconds to react. It's very normal. As a youngster, you have to react very fast. The function of nerve tissue is not just to transmit nerve impulses, it's to control and coordinate body activities. What does coordinate means? You have to have an actual direction. For example, when I drink water, I take my bottle, I put it into my mouth. This is a correct coordination. What is a wrong coordination? I take my bottle, my hands are shaking. This is a wrong coordination. People with Parkinson, they have problems with coordination. They don't know where is the mouth. They cannot even walk straight because they don't know where is the coordination. So that's why I say nerve tissue is very, very important for you to react. At this moment, we can't really increase our nerve tissue anymore because we are at kind of like a maximum stage of life. When you are younger, you can actually train your nerve tissue. When you are younger as in like your baby, newborn, 1, 2, 3 years old, below 5 years old, you can still train. When you're older than that, it's a bit hard for you to train. But every one of us, we are normal. I believe that we are normal, okay? Normal as in you have a normal reaction. So this is nerve tissue. Next, we have muscle tissue. Muscle tissue, we have 3 tissue. We have cardiac muscle, skeletal muscle, and smooth muscle. Cardiac means what? Cardiac means heart. Okay, cardiac means heart. Skeletal means bone. Smooth muscle refers to your intestine. We have intestine. We have esophagus. We have trachea. We have blood vessel. Those are referring to your smooth muscle. Okay, talk about cardiac muscle first. Based on these 3 diagrams, we have to recognize what are these muscles. Cardiac muscle, they have a connection point. Can you see? It looks like a H or Y over here. When they have a connection point, they have to be a cardiac muscle. Skeletal muscle, they are stick by stick. Can you see? They are stick by stick by stick. This is a skeletal muscle. They are stick by stick by stick. Smooth muscle, it looks like an eye. Your eyes. Okay, it looks like eyes. It's called a smooth muscle. So this is how we identify whether they are cardiac muscle, smooth muscle, or skeletal muscle, based on the diagram over here. Now, talking about cardiac muscle, do you think you are able to control your heartbeat? Because cardiac muscle is to contract and relax to pump your blood to all parts of the body, right? Do you think that you are able to control your heartbeat? Is it possible for you to control your heartbeat? Of course, cannot, right? If you can, please teach me how you control your heartbeat. It's an involuntary muscle. You cannot control, but it can only be affected. Control means what? Control as in you can ask your heart to increase and to decrease. You want to stop, also you can stop, but we cannot, right? If we can control our heartbeat, there will be a lot of people dying already. Like people who want to die, then stop heartbeat, then they die. But we cannot control it. It can only be affected when we do activities. When you do sports, it will increase our heartbeat. Sometimes even when we don't do sport, we will also have increase of heartbeat. When you feel nervous, when you're watching a horror movie, when you see a girl that you like walk in front of you, or a boy that you like walk in front of you, you have increase of heartbeat. All of these are involuntary action. We cannot control your heartbeat. It's to pump blood to all parts of the body lah, okay? Next, we have skeletal muscle. Skeletal means what? Bone, right? From your head to toe, okay? From your head to toe, your face, your hand, okay? Your leg, every part that you're able to touch over here, your hand, your face, okay? All of these muscle are called skeletal muscle because you can control all these muscle. You can control your facial expression. You can control your writing movement, your walking. Everything is controlled. You are able to control. It's called voluntary action. Control by having contraction and relaxation. You can walk, you can talk, you can sing song, you can dance around. It's by skeletal muscle. If somebody one day, if you believe in involuntary action, somebody, they slap you on the face and they say, sorry, my hand cannot control. Do you believe, guys? Of course you cannot believe, right? People slap you and say this is involuntary. How can it possible? Cannot be possible, right? So that's why all of the muscle that you're able to touch, your feel, okay, your body, your leg is called skeletal muscle. Smooth muscle, we cannot touch because it's inside. Smooth muscle referring to intestine, your esophagus, and blood vessel. They are able to carry out peristalsis. Okay, it's called peristalsis. When we digest food, it's by peristalsis. Your large intestine is also by peristalsis. In smooth muscle, we cannot control as well. If we can control, it also means that I can control when do I digest my food. Today I eat KFC. 10 days later, I can digest my KFC. 10 days after, I can store my KFC in my esophagus first. If I want to digest, I like it to go down. Cannot be right. You cannot control your peristalsis. Everything is involuntary. The only thing that you can control over here is just your skeletal muscle. Only your skeletal muscle can be controlled. Okay, and then we have connective tissue. What is a connective tissue? By the name, you know, it's to connect things together. It's called connective tissue. We have 6 connective tissue over here. Bones, adipose tissue, loose fibrous connective tissue, cartilage, and blood. Talk about bone first. Human, we have many bones. Okay, we will talk about the number of bones later. Bones is to protect our internal organs, is to give us a framework. Everyone will look like a human when we have bones. Eyes should be in front, nose should be in front, your hands, your fingers. We look like a human because we have a bone. If we have no bones, we're going to be a jelly. Today, I want to be a jelly, I can be a jelly. Tomorrow, I want to be a slime or whatever. I can be anything that I want when I have no bone, but we cannot because we have a bone. We cannot shape our bones as well. You cannot be like, today I sit on my left face, then my eyes will move to the right hand side. Cannot be. Everything we have a structure because we have bones. Next, we have adipose tissue. What is adipose tissue? Adipose tissue is fat. Fat is a cell. Fat is a cell. Adipose tissue is a tissue, but they are fats. Everything is fat. Every human, we need to have fat in our body. The amount, it cannot be a lot, okay? We have to have a sufficient amount of fat in our body. Why do you think humans need to have fat in body, guys? What is the purpose of having fats in human body? What is the purpose of having fats in human body? Correct, to maintain body temperature, to keep your body warm, act as a heat insulator, and to act as a reserve energy. When we have no food to eat, your fats will break down into food for you. So imagine one day you are being thrown into isolated island. If a person has a lot of body fats, they can survive longer because they have more body fats. The fats will break down into glucose, and then you're gonna live your life. And let's say you are in a very cold area. When you have a lot of body fats, you can also keep your body warm. So this is the function of adipose tissue. You cannot have a lot, but a suitable amount of it. Suitable amount, okay? Next, okay, I'll talk about loose connective tissue later. I'm gonna come to cartilage first. Cartilage. We have a lot of cartilage in our body. In between our, at the end of the bones, okay, imagine this bone. At the end of the bone, we are covered by a cartilage. Cartilage is to reduce friction. Reduce friction when we are moving is used to reduce friction. Our nose, we have cartilage. The ears, we also have cartilage. Okay, yeah, you can feel it, guys. This is the cartilage. Over here, we also have cartilage. There are people who do plastic surgery. So how do they do plastic surgery? They will use their ear cartilage. They remove it, part of it, small part of it, guys. They put it to the nose over here. So to make their nose bridge to be higher. Not as like taller, but also only a bit. But right now, we don't use this anymore because you have to have damaging of 2 areas, right? So what people do right now is they put a filler into the nose. Okay, so to make it more naturally that you have a higher nose bridge. This is what they do. We don't use the ear cartilage anymore. And then we have the one in between at the end of the bones. When we move, the bones and bones will not have friction, so we don't get arthritis when we have cartilage. Older people, maybe they have too much of wear and tear, because as you grow older, your movement move too much, right? Then you're gonna have wear and tear like a slipper. So when they move, maybe they will feel pain because of wear and tear of cartilage. So this is the cartilage thing, okay, cartilage thing. And then we have blood. Blood can be a tissue only when they consist of 3 different tissue: red blood cell, white blood cell, and platelets. Okay, there are 3. Only can be known as a blood tissue. Generally, it's known as a blood cell. Red blood cell is to transport oxygen. That's what we know. White blood cell is to kill microorganisms, like as immunity. And then we have platelets to control blood clotting mechanism. Everything here, we will also learn it in either chapter as well. We will learn more about it. Okay, the interesting thing about here is the loose connective tissue and fibrous connective tissue, because you never learned this before, right? What is a loose connective tissue? Loose connective tissue is to hold your organs in the correct position. What does it mean? Imagine your kidney is at the back of your body, right? But around kidney, we don't have other organs. Around other kidney, we don't have other organs, right? How do they make sure that our kidney is at the left and right side, not in the middle? We have a loose connective tissue that holds the organs in the correct position. That is the function of loose connective tissue. As a fibrous connective tissue, we have tendon and ligament. Tendon is to connect bone to muscle. Ligament is bone to bone. This is the function of fibrous connective tissue. Okay, what is the function of tendon? Okay, how do you want to feel your tendon, guys? Let me teach you how to feel tendon. Okay, your hands, okay, we have a lot of tendon around our body. Yeah. Okay, use your elbow lah, okay? So when you are doing this action, okay, bend your hand a bit right now. You feel it over here. We have a feeling of like a rubber kind of thing. I don't know if you guys feel it before. Like there's a rubber kind of thing over here. Can you feel it? There's a rubber thing. Like in between, like your arm over here, can you feel it? There's a rubber kind of thing. That is actually the tendon. Tendon is to connect your muscle to bone. I mean, this tendon is to connect your bicep to your bones over here. We have a bones over here. It's to connect your muscle to your bone. It's a tendon. A lot of body parts, we have tendon. Over here, we also have tendon. You can feel it over here like a rubber kind of thing. This is also a tendon. Over here, we have tendon as well. At the back, we have tendon. We have a lot of tendon in our body because we have a lot of muscle. All muscle has to join with the tendon. So we have a lot of tendon. Your knee also have tendon. Your ankle also have tendon. We will learn more about tendon when we learn about human body next time. Ligament, we cannot feel because ligament is to connect bone to bone. So we cannot really feel ligament. Hard to feel ligament because it's to connect bone to bone. We don't really feel ligament, but we can feel tendon. We have a lot of tendon in our body. So this is the connective tissue. If you ask me which one is more common to be asked as tissue, yeah, muscle tissue is the one that is more common to be asked in exam. For muscle tissue, they give you a diagram. They ask you what is the cardiac muscle, skeletal muscle, and smooth muscle. You have to identify based on the diagram. This is the muscle tissue. And then we have organ, system, organism. Talking about organ first, we have skin, stomach, heart, brain, lung, kidney, liver, and even digestive system or organs. All of these goes together with the system itself. First, we start with system, guys, because we have to learn system, then we can learn organs together. Yeah. The first system is called integumentary system. What does integumentary mean? Integumentary means skin. Your skin is the largest part of your body organs. It's called integumentary. Okay, your skin is the largest part. So your skin will actually form again. When you have any injury, your skin will be formed again. So let's say you have you fall down and then your skin wear off and then you have your blood coming out. Your skin gonna grow back again. In what situation your skin cannot grow back? When you have a burn, very serious burn, or when you got acid, your skin cannot grow back. What you can do in this situation, you can go for a skin transplant. What is a skin transplant? Usually, you will use your own skin. You will take your skin from your leg, your thigh usually, or your butt area, somewhere around there. The doctor will remove part of the skin and they will paste it over here. So this is how your skin grow back when your skin cannot grow back by themselves. Because your thigh area is a healthy area, right? Because it's not being exposed by the fire, you can grow back again. Usually, you use your own body skin. Why your own body skin? Number one, to prevent tissue rejection. When the tissue rejects, your body will have a lot of problems. So it's to prevent tissue rejection. Number 2 is to avoid color difference. But of course, you have no choice. You can use any color difference. If you don't mind, no problem. So you can have a different color skin tone than you if you want to, no problem one, okay? As long as you are healthy and safe. This is the skin. Skin can go for skin transplant. Skin transplant, cannot say very common lah, but let's say you have a burn and you really need the skin. Skin is the part where you protect yourself, right? You need the skin, then you have to go for skin transplant. Next, we have muscular system. Muscular system is muscle, obviously. Every one of us, guys, we have 8 packs. Your abs is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, we have 8. But of course, our abs is too shy. We are covered by a layer of fat over here. If you are very skinny, like very, very skinny, you are able to see your lines. If you're very skinny, that some boys or some girls, they're actually very skinny. You can see that you have a line in the middle and the 2 lines at the side. If you are very skinny, look into the mirror, try to look at yourself. You can see 1 line over here, okay, and 2 lines over here. You're very skinny lah, okay? If you are very fit, that you train your abs, you can see 6 packs, 6 abs. Because these 2 is actually very hard to train. Okay, but if you can train, of course, it's a good thing that you can train. Our muscle feels like if muscle without blood is a dry muscle, it feels like an overcooked chicken breast. If you feel, okay, you cannot feel obviously because like a real human, okay? If you feel a real human without blood, like a dry muscle, it feels like overcooked chicken breast. If you want to know the feeling of it, when your mom cook any chicken breast, you cook it into a soup. No, when they make it into a soup, okay? The chicken breast feels exactly like a human muscle. Exactly, guys. Don't ask me how I know. I just know, guys. I feel before, obviously. I feel it before, okay? I feel it before in the lab. My uni lab. That's why I know. It's a real human. I feel it on the chest, guys. Okay, I don't feel any other area. I feel it on the chest. It feels like an overcooked chicken breast. Okay, next we have blood circulatory system. Blood circulatory system over here referring to 3 different types of blood vessels. We have artery, vein, and capillary. 3 different artery, vein, capillary. Okay, they say that according to the researcher, they say if you take all of a blood vessel as a one human, you take all of the blood vessel out, line to a straight line. One straight line, it can go through the earth 2.5 rounds. One earth, 2.5 rounds. By connecting all of our blood vessels together, one human body can go past the earth 2.5 rounds, which is very long. And remove everything else, just the blood vessel. Your blood vessel looks like a cotton candy. Looks exactly like a cotton candy, but it's red color lah. It's red in color. That's the blood vessel. Is our blood vessel blue and red color? The answer is yes. Our blood vessel is blue and red color. But of course, it's because that we have different skin tone. That's why maybe it's not blue color. Sometimes it's green color. We will learn about the reason behind when we learn about blood vessel lah. But it's really blue color, guys. Blue color is vein. Red color is artery. Skeletal muscle is bone. Try to have a smart guess. How many bones do you have in your body? Smart guess, guys. How many bones do you think you have in your body? Based on this diagram. How many bones do you think you have? I have a student who used to tell me, human got 6 bones. I'm like, how do you get 6 bones? Oh, he say, head 1 bone ma. Hand 3, 4, 5, 6 bones. Human got 6 bones. I'm like, how human got 6 bones? Then how do you move your finger, right? Not possible. Cannot be 6 bones, guys. Human, we have 206 bones in total, okay? 206 bones. Some of you might have more, some of you might have lesser. We don't even know because we don't count our bones. As long as you can walk normally, you can write normally, you can talk normally, you live a normal life. You don't have to care whether you have more or lesser. There are people who have 1 more bone or 1 lesser bone because the bone feels too much together. When we are newborn, we have more bones. When we are adult, maximum we have 206. No matter whether you are a guy or girl, we have only 206 bones. Don't tell me boys got 1 more, guys. Boys don't have 1 more. Boys only got 206. Girls also got 206. It's the same amount of it. Okay, and then we will have the nervous system. Nervous system looks like a fish bone, actually. Like a fish bone. We have brains, we have spinal cord, and we have nerve tissue. So to have a faster nervous system, we have more nerve tissue that transmit nerve impulses. Once your spinal cord is cut, the person will be paralyzed. Your spinal nerve, right, is only like that only. Okay, this is the length of your spinal cord. So if your spinal cord is being cut, the person is going to be paralyzed. This is nerve. And then we have lymphatic system. Lymphatic system are related to how do we remove excess water out of body? How do we have enough of white blood cell to fight against infection? Lymphatic system, okay, is to control your water in your bodies, to prevent water retention, and to have enough of white blood cell. Endocrine system referring to hormones. Endocrine system referring to hormones. Our hormone come from brain, thyroid glands. We have kidney. We have pancreas. Okay, and then we have digestive system. Okay, I believe that you know about your digestive system to digest food. We have respiratory system, your nose, trachea, lungs, excretory system to have a formation of urine. This is formation of urine. Reproductive system, we have male and female. So all of these systems, actually, we will learn it in each of the chapter. For example, muscular system is in chapter 14, lymphatic system is in chapter 10, endocrine system is chapter 12. So we're going to learn all of these in detail in every other chapter in Form 4. So this is just a rough idea for you to know what you have to learn in Form 4. That's all. Okay. After human, anybody has question about human, guys? Anybody has question about humans? Okay, now after humans, we will learn about plants. Same thing. We have cell, tissue, organ, system, organism. It works the same, guys. We're going to talk about shape to tissue first because we know that cell is basic unit. We have epidermal, xylem, phloem, gut cell. We will learn about it in tissue. We have seen, right, from a cell to tissue, what process do they have to carry out in order to have a specific function? What process do they need to carry out? To have a specific function, they need to undergo a process called from a cell to tissue to have a specific function. Correct. Cell differentiation or cell specialization. But the special thing about plant tissue, we have meristem tissue, we have permanent tissue. Again, what is the meaning of meristem? Meristem means what? Meristem means, just now we learned the word meristematic, young plant cell. Very good. Meristem tissue means young plant cell. We have apical, we have lateral. Apical means the tip. Lateral means the side. Okay, we will learn about this when we learn about plants. Okay, but this is tip, this is side. Apical, lateral. As a young plant cell, they don't need to have a specific function. They only have to increase more. 1 to 2, 2 to 4. 1 to 2, 2 to 4. That is the purpose of meristem cell. But permanent tissue is different. Permanent tissue is a mature tissue. They have already undergone cell differentiation. They already carry out the process. We have epidermal, vascular, and ground tissue. Epidermal, just now we learned the word epithelial in human. Epithelial means what again? Epithelial means what? Outermost. Very good. So epidermal has the same meaning. Outermost layer. We have cuticle. Cuticle is the waxy layer. It can be found on the upper epidermis of leaf. Later, go out, take one leaf, okay? You look at the leaf. The smooth one is with the cuticle, which is the waxy layer. The rough one is the bottom part. So every leaf will have two surfaces, the smooth one and the rough one. The presence of cuticle is to prevent excess water loss. So the cuticle should be the one that's facing towards sunlight to prevent excess water loss. Root hair. Root hair is very long because when they are long, they are able to increase surface area. Root can only absorb water and mineral. Function of root hair. Gut cell, they will control opening and closing of stomata. Opening and closing will happen in different time of the day. Opening, they only happens during daytime. Closing, it will be nighttime. Okay, why is it daytime and nighttime? Because daytime, they have photosynthesis. Nighttime got no photosynthesis. That's why during daytime, they will open. Nighttime, they will close. And then we have vascular tissue. Vascular, everything related to vascular, they have to be xylem and phloem. Remember, when you see the word vascular, remember as xylem and phloem. Xylem transport water and mineral. Phloem transport organic substances. Remember, this is organic substances, not food. Cannot write food, cannot write glucose. You write organic substances. Either you write organic substances or you write photosynthetic product. Organic substances or photosynthetic product, okay? Last one, ground tissue. Every ground tissue ends with chyma, guys. Okay, every ground tissue here ends with chyma. Okay, in Mandarin, chyma is the godmother. But this is not godmother, guys. This chyma and the godmother has a similarity where all of them provide support. As you can see, we have support. Mechanical strength is also support. All of them provide support. Parenchyma tissue is the most special one because parenchyma tissue, they have thin cell wall, large vacuole. The vacuole is bigger because they can store more sugar and starch. How do they provide support? The support comes from the word called turgid dt. Just now we learned the word turgid dt, right? What does turgid dt mean? It means water diffuses in. Because they have larger vacuole, they can store more water. They are able to have turgid dt, this parenchyma tissue. Collenchyma tissue, they have uneven thickened cell wall. If you look at the side of it, they have thickened corner over here. Can you see the corner is taken? And the cell wall, thicker, thinner, thicker, thinner. So this uneven thickened cell wall is by hemicellulose or the cellulose. Hemicellulose or the pectin. Because I don't think you learned this in Form 4 yet, but just for you to know, the reason why they are taken is because they are taken by different things. They have uneven thickened cell wall. Sclerenchyma tissue, they are taken by lignin. Whenever you see the word lignin, it means they are dead cell. When you see the word lignin, they will be dead cell. It looks like a beehives. Beehives, can you see like a beehives? This is a sclerenchyma tissue. In exam, how do they ask you this question? They will give you the diagram and they ask you, what is the name of it? What is the differences between these three cells? Similarity and differences. If you give you a diagram, remember, if it's round, larger vacuole has to be parenchyma tissue. When they have uneven thickened corners or uneven thickened cell wall, it has to be collenchyma tissue. If it's like a beehives, it will be a sclerenchyma tissue. This is a ground tissue. The tissue you have to learn, okay? Organ, system, organism, very less they will ask. But for system, we only have two systems in plants. We have shoot system, they have leaf and stem. We have root system, they only have roots. But they don't really ask about system. But tissue is the one that you have to remark, guys. In exam, they will ask you about tissue, means meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. And also human tissue. They will also ask you about human tissue. Epithelial. If you ask me to choose which one is more important, they ask you about muscle tissue is more important. Nerve tissue, I believe you know, is to transmit nerve impulses. Connective tissue is most likely to be a objective question. They give you a diagram of it because I didn't insert the diagram over here. They give you a diagram. They ask you what tissue is that. This is a connective tissue. So this is about cell, tissue, organ, system, organism. So as you can see, we don't really have time to do question today. I prepared a lot of questions in the back. I mean, if you have your notes, you have seen that there's a lot of questions, right? All of the question has answer. The answer is already in the website. Not in the website, we have a PDF thing, kind of thing. There's a notes PDF. It's in the website. You click to the Google Drive, then you can access to the answer. So the answer is there. So hopefully that you have understand chapter 2. Again, I have to mention chapter 2 is very important. Very, very, very important. It's not just for your first term exam, guys. It's important for your SPM as well. This is the basic thing that you have to know. If you don't know about the basic thing, maybe when you do question in the future, you feel very, very hard for you to answer because you don't even know what is the function of mitochondria. They say, oh, this cell has a lot of mitochondria. You don't even know what is the function of it. You cannot do the rest of the question. So to study biology, remember to study in sequence first. Study the label, study the function, study the process. It comes in a sequence. Don't start with process first when you don't even know what is that. So this is the sequence when we studied about it. So any question about chapter 2, you can ask me. No question. Hopefully I will see you again, or I will see you next week in class if you're my student. So I will see you again, guys. Any question you can ask me, okay? So thanks for attending the class. I will see you when I see you guys again. Okay, bye-bye. See you guys. Bye-bye. See you guys when I see you guys again. Bye-bye. Bye, guys. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.